I want to talk to you today about a problem that most entrepreneurs have, which is distraction. There's a huge industry built on productivity, of course, and probably most of the content related to entrepreneurship is to do with distraction and productivity because we want to achieve our goal and we want to do that as quickly as possible. And therefore, we're very aware of the things which hold us back from being able to do that, from being able to complete the daily work that has to be done to reach those goals. We're very goal driven. So it's a very poignant and well trod topic in entrepreneurship. I would like to propose an interesting theory on how it's possible to get to the root cause of distraction and essentially just remove it completely, where distraction is no longer an issue for you. Now, I'll caveat that with the fact that we're alive and we're human, and as we go through life and changing environments and contexts and so on, we're going to have different experiences, different things are going to happen to us. It's never going to be completely possible to remove it, but we can certainly bring it to a point where I think it's a lot more manageable. And with this technique, which I'm going to explain, it's going to serve you to not only get rid of distraction completely, and as new kind of things come in, you'll be able to get rid of those too. It's also going to help you to grow as a person and uncover more of basically what makes you extremely valuable and revealing how much potential you really have. And it's going to show you that means you can do so much more than you think. And also that really all of this stuff that is distracting you and everything and frustrating you and stopping you from reaching your goals is actually really, really beneath you, right? So let's just get right into it. And I'm going to keep this as short as possible. And if this is interesting to people, I'll branch off and I'll create, kind of adjacent talks around it. Or it's interesting to me, right? So I think I'll just do it anyway. So there'll be more on this. So I'm going to keep this one really short. Let's just look at this. Well, first of all, let's just talk about what we actually mean by these distractions, okay? And I'll speak about myself, be very honest with how I am on bad days and good days. Thankfully, I'm a lot better than I used to be, but can you relate to ping-ponging between things? Can you relate to, you start this thing and then you get this urge and then you check your email, carry on with this thing. I'm just going to get a coffee, carry on with this thing. I check the news, right? Essentially what's happening, if I could just put it this way, you're just trying to avoid the pain. Okay, so there's a lot of pain attached to the work. Let's not get into it now, but there's a huge psychological depth of pain attached to just being an entrepreneur and reaching for a goal, right? It's not just entrepreneurs. It's like people who are trying to climb the corporate ladder. They're trying to establish a movement. They're trying to bring this goal into fruition, right? Anything which is big, that feels like a big target, that feels like I'm an imposter, the imposter syndrome thing. I'm not capable of doing this thing. How can I foster this growth of this thing? There's all of these voices, right? It makes the work really painful. So it's not just, I don't like sitting at my desk. I don't like being indoors. I don't like, being on the phone, right? Whatever it is I have to do. I don't like doing this report, writing or designing, whatever. There's a discomfort attached to those. The actual performance of the task, for sure. But there's a deeper discomfort there to do with, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm an imposter. All these voices, right? Let's just take that as given. So there's a lot of pain in doing the work. So what do you do? What do we do when we face pain? We seek an exit. And we're either basically seeking the avoidance of the pain, just to not have any pain, or we're seeking the opposite of pain, which is pleasure, and we're trying to introduce that to soothe our souls, having gone through the pain. And in both of those cases, whatever the reason might be, we're not doing the work, we're distracted. And where does that lead? It leads to frustration and regret, which are things we generally want to try and avoid. as well. The problem with regret is we don't avoid it. We just have to experience it, and then we're like, this is horrible. I won't do this again. Tomorrow I'll be different. But during the day, we don't think about regret. I think if you take anything from this video, I mean, one sort of very superficial kind of solution to this is to think about regret a little bit more. Like if you go through evenings where you're like, I wish I did this and this today, or the end of the week, I wish I did this week, end of the month, end of the year. I think it's a good thing to sit with that sometimes, because regret avoidance, you know, it's a thing which has been spoken about. I think Jeff Bezos talks about that, regret minimalization. That's one kind of superficial thing I can give you in this video, but I don't want to get into the superficial too much. Where I want to really go now is a lot deeper. So if I could just sketch out what our typical behavior is, it's first of all, we're doing the work and then we find ourselves in a condition of pain. So pain is the result. And as we said, what happens when that happens is, of course, we will try to avoid that pain. So what will happen now is we'll introduce a load of noise. So this could be like half an hour, 15 minutes, feeling the pain, introduce noise, okay, which would be checking the news. And then from there, it just spirals. It can lead into checking social media, checking this, checking this, checking this. Checking is a very common thing because at the other end of checking, there is a outcome, right? There's something to be discovered. We like that. Our brains like that very much. So checking is noise, okay? How do we then deal with this? How do we not get into noise? Well, the first thing, I guess, is to get right to the heart of it, is how do we not experience pain? Because if we didn't experience pain, we wouldn't need to experience noise. Let's come back to that, because that's kind of where we're going to go with this. The noise typically is going to have to be trying to be, the normal approach is going to be trying to reduce the noise. Okay, so that would be like eliminating distractions, removing things from your peripheral vision, like putting your phone in the drawer, using like blockers on your computer to stop you getting on social media, all this kind of thing, right? All of this, if you think about it, is happening on the external plane. Okay, this is you, which is the internal, and then here is the external. The other thing we'll try and do, besides reducing the noise and removing distraction, is we're going to try to interrupt the interplay between you and the external environment, which is things like triggers. We're going to try to remove those. We kind of already talked about that, like putting the phone away in the drawer. Any kind of like productivity hack or technique or anything like this is very much focused on this interplay between you and the noise itself. It's very much around sort of discipline, right? Self-discipline and self-control, how to increase those things, how to, avoidance and put this away. And it's just very doing, and there's a lot of action, but it's taking place in the external environment. You could argue there's kind of an overlap, but it's mostly on the external plane that I think most of these people are speaking to, right? I think to bring in my argument will help you to see the problem with this argument, okay? So if I just talk about the internal plane for a second, I think it will put all of the external stuff into context and make it look a lot more superficial, actually. To get to the root and axe the bad habits, the distractions, the seeking dopamine, not getting the work done, to get to the root and axe those bad habits, we must look to the internal plane. So, what is that? I alluded to this at the beginning of the video. It's cultivating and understanding the fact that you're valuable. And again, this is a whole other topic, but I'll just present it this way. If you know you're valuable and you know you have huge, huge potential, you will just start to view all of this stuff and this noise as very much beneath you. It's a coping mechanism. Yeah, I'm escaping pain. Why am I doing that? I can go through some pain, or this goal is worth going through some pain for. All of this on potential which I have, which I realize, which needs to be in the world, like if I'm trying to help people, there's people right now that need helping. Well, there's people that need your stuff, okay? Whatever it may be, I'm holding that back because I'm not fully realizing my potential. And what am I doing? I'm just doing all these things. I'm getting distracted. These things are beneath me because they're interfering with my goal and with my mission. You see, as your value goes up, it's inevitable that you're going to see stuff that's limiting your value, putting the brakes on it, as very undesirable and behaviors that you do not want to engage in. Okay. I'll give you an example of this kind of dynamic, although it's not quite the same, but you might be able to relate to it. Is I realized that caffeine was a big problem for me, right? So I'd have like 3-4 coffees. I used to have a lot more. And then I got into like learning about it, and I realized that caffeine is actually put into lots of different products as well, like, Coke and confectionery, things like this. It's everywhere, okay? And people do this, companies do this to get you addicted. And what I realized was, I'm in these cycles of addiction. Like, I can't do anything until I've had this coffee. I can't do this until I've had this coffee, right? I have to stop working at this time because I've got this need and this craving for this coffee. And I was like, I'm being controlled by Nestle. And this made me really, really annoyed. Really annoyed. Because I was like, my potential and what I want to do is getting disrupted and distorted by this like giant multinational corporation, right? So seeing myself and seeing that as very unfair, and I felt manipulated, made me hate coffee. It made it very easy then to quit coffee. I since brought coffee back, just full disclosure, but I did it on my terms. I did it because I actually like it. And I did it on the basis of, this is not going to be a crutch for me anymore. This is going to be just a source of pleasure, right? I can enjoy it outside. I can enjoy it in a nice place. I'm going to enjoy it. It's not something I have to have anymore, okay? I've seen other people where they've had really undesirable behaviors and they've just gone instantaneously, completely gone. No need for any of this stuff, like more productivity books, more podcasts, more YouTube videos, more courses, all gone. No need for it whatsoever. Literally night and day, it was gone. And why did that happen? It was because people got to the root of what was going on. Why do they have that dependency? Learning about their value and realizing, I don't need this thing. Of course I don't need this thing. Learning about the other side, like, why does that thing even exist? Because somebody is manipulating you, right? Somebody is designing a mobile device that you're going to pick up multiple times per day and waste your life on, basically. That should make you pretty annoyed. Lastly, I'll just say it's this avoidance of pain which I think we need to think about and be really curious about. I wanted to keep this short, so I'm just going to end with this, and I just think this would be a useful thing for you to get into, and I think it will help to crystallize everything I've been saying here. Is this idea of feel and pause. You need to become more aware, okay? You need to be more aware of yourself and what you're like and what your sort of predispositions are. And I think by doing that, you will spot these things before they get you, okay? You need to have an awareness around your value, first of all. Big topic, get into that another time. But for feel and pause, I just want you to be aware of you feeling the pain, okay? So what's happening in that moment where you feel the need to go off and do something else? Why do you feel that? And just question it. The pause will actually help you to break this trigger and then this action. There's going to be a trigger, which is a thought or a feeling of pain. The action is going to be, you could go off and check social media. The pause is going to help you to break that. It's going to let you think twice about it. And in that moment, in that pause, think about, what am I doing right now? And why am I wanting to stop doing this thing? Really, really, really get introspective about that. You don't have to do it in that moment, but at the end of the day maybe, or at the beginning of the next day, think about those moments that you paused. Think about what your brain was saying. Think about the lies that's telling you. If you want to do this in a more purposeful way, so you can, not have it get drowned in the busyness of the day, because pausing and taking stock in the middle of the day is difficult. you can purposefully bring about this situation. This is something I just picked up from somebody else today, actually, which I felt was really, really useful. It's just stand up and breathe, and just for 1 minute, shut your eyes, do nothing. Just stand there. And just hear all the things which come up, right? As you stand, in that pain. You're going to hear things like, this is useless, this is a waste of time, I'm going to do this, I should be exercising, I should be doing my breathing, I should be doing my yoga, whatever. Just hear it. Because your brain is telling you to exit. Stop doing this thing, go do this thing instead. Just listen to what is being said. And then I'll just end this video by saying just take stock of that and be very curious about that. Ask the question, why? Why do I need to stop? Why is this not important? Why do I feel like I've got to be busy today? Why is it important to be busy? Because I've got to get this thing done and this thing done. Why? Why do I have to do those things? And just keep going and going and going and going. What will happen there is you're going to start to disarm this trigger and this quick response, right? This fleeing from pain, because you're going to start to understand a little bit more about what's going on internally here and some of the lies that you might be telling yourself. It's when you start to appreciate the lies, when you go deeply into yourself, and as you start to cultivate more of like, this is my potential, this is my value, I guarantee you that a lot of these distractions, if not all, are going to start to fade away. Anyway, I'll get more into this in other videos, but if you enjoyed this, just let me know somehow, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.